Hello and welcome back to Forge of Champions. Forge of Champions, not champion, not just one. As
well, there will only be one champion.
But they'll be made up of 5
Well,
people.
there will be 2 people who qualify, though. So.
True, that is also true.
Many champions to be forged here at Forge of Champions over in the UK scene, as EXCEL are currently in a series versus Misfits, and Misfits were able to take themselves the first win pretty convincingly as well, with a Z pick and a full AD with end.
Sorry, I want a blind Z pick.
A blind.
They
Z
had
pick.
no idea what was being picked into.
Wait,
that guy had
Sin?
everything banned away. I mean, I was choosing to ignore it.
I should have reacted.
Orcs was like, oh, it hurt him too much.
But like, he had so many things banned away from him, and that's what we've seen with Leader, and what I've really liked about the way Misfits have reset themselves. He is this solo queue god, so we've seen his Yasuo and Ryze banned away consistently. That's 2 of the bans taken away from every team that they have to play against right now. That's huge.
One thing that's really difficult is that now Misfits are going to be on the blue side, and you saw on the red side they banned away the Akali. You're now going to be a situation, will EXCEL have to ban away the Yasuo and the Akali and the Ryze, and then that still leaves the first pick Aurelia open. So that's even ignoring the fact that Zed seemed to be an okay pick for him. I really think that they're going to struggle to ban a leader.
And they also banned his talent later on.
I think they're going to struggle to ban a leader in this next game, and I think it clearly didn't work.
Yeah.
So I think they need a different strategy, potentially putting their bot lane on something a bit risky, because you saw they managed to punish Crossfire when he was sitting in that brush, but then after that you have Draven into Zyra Khan, and the fact is that Draven's a lot more mobile, and when you have a jungler just repeatedly gank someone as a down,
I was gonna say a lot of that was flicked, so you got to give him the credit there. It wasn't Chrisberg and Prosper finding a miracle engage; it was them playing really well around their jungle.
And also Quickstep helping out as well when he headbutted.
It's really nice as well to see Afflict in this whole tournament. To be fair, has really shifted up his playstyle. You know, we knew him as kind of when he first came in. We saw him on the Rengar. You know, he was a very carry-orientated jungler. Yeah. Now he's willing to go, I'm capable of playing tanks as well. I'm capable of doing my part for the team. And I think that's been a really big thing for him. You know, he's a very flexible and a very capable jungler. And, you know, if he needs to carry, he can carry. If he needs to play something a little bit more engaged, a little bit more tanky, a little bit more team-focused, he's capable of doing that as well.
And I think the key thing is the way he's ganking is it's like it doesn't matter whether he's a carry or not, because he trusts his team to follow up with the damage when he goes for it.
I think particularly with Leader in the mid lane, I think he needs to be someone who's a bit more reliable on these tanks. When Leader plays these very aggressive champions, he has to provide a bit more for his team.
Well, we are through into picks and bans for the second game of this series as Misfits looking to ban away that Rakan. Don't want to give over the Zyra Khan over to Venza and Quicksef.
Yeah, so
straight away.
They won't be able to pick that up themselves, but the threat is that on red side you can take that double pick as you saw Misfits do. Understand the threat from that. Interesting to see that Morgana just has kind of been ignored throughout this entire series. I've seen the Galio ban come out. This is something that I've seen picked earlier in the tournament into an Akali. So it could be a decent matchup into it, but it's also something Rippy is very confident on and can provide a lot of power to the side lane.
And also it's just very safe in general.
Yeah.
Like Galio, hard to burst, slows down the mid lane a lot, much like the Vladimir pick can, but Galio even more so in certain cases.
You saw an Aurelia come out. I have no doubt the third ban will be the Akali.
If they don't ban the Akali, or like the Talon or something like that, I mean, this would definitely be a blind pick Akali by Leader if it's left open.
I 100% think they're going to ban the Akali. Question is, what the Misfits first pick? I guess you could prioritize.
You don't blind pick.
You don't need to prioritize Leader.
Yeah, no.
You
only prioritize
Ryze,
the Akali.
You do have his Ryze. That is enough.
Worth picking it this early. You could take something like a strong jungler, or you could take something that secures a good bot lane.
I think it's
Tilia is still pretty viable.
Yeah.
And if Flick has shown he's willing to play it.
I think one of the strengths of having Leader in as well is, well, yeah, you kind of go Leader's Ryze is up. He doesn't mind playing into Ryze.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So there's no rush on picking his lane as well.
Looks like EXCEL are wanting to deny some more picks, so they'll take the Ryze themselves. The thing is, this is a flex pick. We've seen, particularly in various regions, they will play the Ryze top lane. Has
even playing bot
matchup.
I know Venza
I think that's a bit rarer now, but very recently, there's been Ryze top, so this is still a limited flex. But could see it go top of mid, but just
definitely not going bot.
Leader. And yeah, actually seeing the Kai'Sa come out, so this is surprising to pick it this early. I feel like there are a lot of good picks into the Kai'Sa. Alistair particularly is something that's effective against it, because obviously you have the mobility on from her E ability. I always forget what it's called. But the Alistair combo just locks it down and means
Supercharge.
You're unable to find the outplay potential.
I mean, you still got something like a really powerful 2v2 lane where you can pick like a Lucian Braum. It's funny that Tahm Kench got such a major nerf, but people still willing to pick it.
What I will say, it was a major nerf to his defensive play. With the way these teams are playing, maybe it's not so big a nerf, because they're just running straight at you.
I mean, you gobble one person out, and then you just burst the rest of the enemy team.
The thing is, I'm not a big fan of the Tahm Kench pick here, because I don't think it's going to do much to pressure the Kai'Sa, and I also don't think it's going to do a ton.
Is he going to do it again?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, he does it again.
I actually wonder if the Tahm Kench is picked up because they want to pick Zed.
Yeah, it provides a lot of
probably
macro
denying
pressure.
that.
So maybe they're just seeing that, okay, it's a Kai'Sa lane, we're going to have pressure regardless. We can play a Tahm Kench for the macro movements. But yeah, the Zed doesn't know if it's going to be necessarily into the Rise yet, but you saw last game he was willing to blind pick it. Well, he is again.
I think this will be a Vladimir ban as well if Misfits don't lock it in. Looks like for now they want to pick their jungler up, don't want to deny that. They're going to get their hands on the Gragas, but Misfits now probably just looking to ban away the Vladimir because you can say a lot, but Rippy actually did do a lot of damage in the last game. He put a lot out for his team.
The difference, however, would be here is if the Rise does end up going mid, there is a lot less outplay potential. We saw Leader being very slippery on this Zed. You can't really dodge away from that route unless you use your ultimate, and even then, that's a one-time thing.
And I mean, he could take Cleanse instead of Ignite and lose some kill pressure if he really wants the ability to kind of dodge away from the Rise, but looks like for now, Leader opting in just the flat kill pressure and saying, the only time I'm going to get close enough for you to actually be able to root me is when I'm all-inning you.
I'm not surprised. Given that last game, if I was Leader, I'd definitely be doing the exact same thing. He should go for kill pressure. He should go for control because they still have the option to set up the exact same plays. And I really like Talia if they go for a 1-3-1 style comp.
Yeah.
Because you can just quickly jump, help your split pusher, or go help your split pusher, jump to join the rest of your team with the wall. Really useful for those kind of plays.
I think it makes sense that they're going for the 1-3-1. The reason they went for that Tahm Kench is it provides a lot of safety in that 3. Because they don't have the Sejuani from last game. Today it's a lot more vulnerable to get jumped on, so they needed something like Tahm Kench to provide some safety. The return pick is that Gragas coming out from EXCEL. I think that's a good one because Tahm Kench is vulnerable to a Gragas. I mean, if you pick someone up and you get knocked into the enemy team, not a great situation to be in.
Varus, Ashe, Vladimir, and Braum all taken off now in the second ban phase. So lots of AD focus coming through from EXCEL. Probably going to want to try and counter pick for Sendo. So for now, just looking to pick himself up a support, and Alistair would be a pretty solid shout, but a couple of things still open to them.
Pyke does well into the Tahm Kench matchup execute through the ult, but it looks like they're planning to match the macro and go for the Shen pick. Shen does pretty well into melee matchups. Find this Tahm Kench. Even if he gets on top of you, you can taunt away, but he can match the macro element, and they understand there is a big threat of this 1-3-1, so they're picking champions that can handle that. Rise, great in a 1-3-1.
That is 100%
Shen,
assuming the quick set's going to Shen.
Assuming he is. It could also go on the top lane. There's a lot of variation here, and that's why I think it's a great pick
Gragas
here.
mid, Rise top, Shen support.
It functions as a great pick here because it keeps the other side guessing. Honestly, they could put the Shen support, they could put the Gragas top, the Rise mid, and they can pick a jungler here. They have a lot of flexibility.
Well, looks like Misfits actually looking for a little bit kind of more mid-game pressure, by getting themselves a Lucian, looking to duel. Don't let the Kai'Sa get into this game. Although Kai'Sa does have that earlier power spike, you know, picking up the Stormrazor.
As the tweet said before, Shikari's the best Cho'Gath player.
He actually said Sendo's the best Cho'Gath.
Oh, well, he's about to get just destroyed.
They could flex this. They could pick a Gnar here.
Ruined.
They could pick a Gnar here into the Cho'Gath, which is a great split push matchup because they can put the Rise mid, the Gragas jungle, the Shen support. I think the Gnar pick would be insane here if EXCEL want to go for it, because that's a matchup that I don't think you can lose that matchup, even if Sendo plays as bad as he did last game. But looks like instead they're going to go for the Camille. Again, another great split pusher who can pretty effectively punish that Cho'Gath. And one big thing to look for is when Cho'Gath hits that level... No, sorry, when Rise hits that level 6 point, he can roam up, use his ultimate, get a 3-man to that Cho'Gath, and we've seen how brutally he can get punished in the early game.
Well, that's going to be the lock-ins as we do see everyone start to take their place. Going to be the Rise mid. Not too surprising. Not going to see him top with obviously the Camille getting locked in. Pretty exciting stuff. Again, we see Leader on Zed.
Yeah, I'm still looking at Leader here with the Zed pick. Can he make it work again? Can he keep pressuring? Because looking at what EXCEL, I was going to say, is they're bringing out this global heavy comp because they realized they got moved around the map constantly last game.
Yep.
With those teleports and the Shen as well, you have that option now. If you start controlling the game, you're able to move around a bit quicker.
You've also technically got 4 with the Shen as well, because you can just
I would argue the difficulty
come
here is that Cho'Gath isn't going to do as well in lane into a Camille. Not going to be able to become that big split push threat. So, Crossfire on this Tahm Kench isn't going to be able to punish the Kai'Sa nearly as much as the Rakan was able to. And again, Taliyah doesn't have the greatest setup for gank. I feel like Misfits have a lot less tools in which they can get a lead and then set up that 1-3-1. And honestly, I don't even feel like they come out ahead in a 1-3-1. Camille and Ryze are going to form a better split push duo than Cho'Gath and Zed. I feel like Misfits might have drafted themselves a bit into a corner here. And again, it's something we saw from Wind and Rain. They drafted the same thing twice. Yes, it worked the first time. The second time, I mean, they didn't draft the exact same thing, but they try to go for this Zed mid. And there's a reason it worked last game. That's because you had the pressure from the Snarl. They don't have that anymore.
One of the things I would have liked to see is instead of the Lucian, go for something like the Ashe or the Varus, something that
It was banned.
Again, they're both banned. Yep, there's a good reason.
That would have been
really good.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain they would have taken Ashe or Varus if they weren't banned.
I was actually just looking at them. Yeah, fair enough.
Understandable.
Well, you know,
exactly. Forced engage.
I
kind of
repeat
lacking.
points you make. You don't look at fixed bans. It's all fun and games here.
The big thing for me is just Misfits lack engage, which is why I think it was necessary to ban those. So I wonder how well they'll do if they start to pull ahead. Can they even force engage unless they get really good Taliyah walls?
I think it's fine if they get ahead because they can snowball. I think if they get behind, they are really going to struggle because they don't have the same tools. They can't rely on a split push as effectively because there's two split pushers who hopefully can deal with Zed. If Zed's behind, he's not going to be able to 1v1 them. They don't have the engage, as you said, and they don't scale massively well because Taliyah, I mean, yes, you can do decent in the late game, but she's vulnerable, and it's a Lucian against a Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's great in the late game. Ryze is strong in the late game. Camille, excellent late game. I think, again, leader really has to pop off this game, or Afflictors if they want to get a win.
The only kind of late game you actually have is if Shikari literally gets fed and has like a bunch of feast stacks and then suddenly can just one-shot someone. That's the only real late game insurance they have if they fall behind.
I don't think, again, it's the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa is one of the best tank shotters in the game.
I think what they're going to try to do is then send, you want to send leader and make him strong enough to be able to face off against Sendo.
Yeah.
I think that's where they're kind of looking, and then maybe set up a split push that way while your 4-man top just stays safe.
You have a good 4-1, and then you can use the global aspect of Tahm Kench and Taliyah to make macro room. The problem is that does rely on Zed being strong. And again, they've got confidence. This is the newest member of the Misfits lineup, is leader. He did replace Kenzuki, and they've got enough confidence because it feels like this draft very much relies on him getting ahead.
Yeah. I mean, it does, for sure. I mean, that's a lot of their win condition lies around this Zed, which is kind of the danger when you pick up something like this in a competitive environment. But they've shown they can make it work once.
Yeah, why not? Give it a go again. If it doesn't work, they still have another opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the key points, actually. They are 1-0 up here. And if you're Enclave and if you're a fan of Enclave, you are watching this game with bated breath. You want Misfits to get a 2-0 here because that means if Misfits win this game, Enclave are the first seed in points, which means they qualify for EU Masters. Your face looked very confused there. You know I was wording that. But basically, that means EXCEL, if they want to make EU Masters, have to win the grand finals in September for the whole tournament.
Yeah, and it begs a big question. If EXCEL lose this 2-0 to Misfits, they would be completely out of the equation as favorites to win that grand final. You'd really have to, you'd see how the finals went between Enclave and Misfits. That would lead into it, and EXCEL would have a very big uphill battle, whereas Enclave, who've already made their way to the final of this World Championship 4, could potentially secure their spot at EU Masters in this next game. And it all comes down to Misfits. So if you're an Enclave fan, you are now a Misfits fan. If you're an EXCEL fan, you're obviously supporting them. And again, the other thing that comes in here is if Misfits come out ahead in this series, they will overtake Wind and Rain and move into that 3rd seed position. Fortunately, you don't win a EU Master spot for that, but you will get slightly more favoured seeding going into those grand finals.
I mean, you even get a little bit more money coming from this tournament as well.
Nothing wrong with that.
Not about money, it's about pride.
You get a little bit more pride coming out of this.
You get a little bit more pride coming out of this.
Yeah, I mean, that's true as well. Pride, money, it's all good.
Pride puts food on the table, right?
Yeah.
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 I believe that.
Cool.
Cool.
What my favorite thing about casting with you two is we kind of deliberately roll each other into like a corner, like back each other to a corner where there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
We always do it. Like if we're on air together, you know we're gonna troll each other to the point where it's like, are you gonna?
It's like a battle. It's like normally casters try and work together. We don't. We're trying to like set each other up.
Work against each other.
Yeah. Trying to make each other look bad.
Celtic's pretty flexible. You know he
well.
Not in that way.
Wait, is that what? When you guys said you were going to do some preparation last night in Jake's room, with, oh, okay.
That's what I said. Don't come. You're not invited to prep.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, I was quite upset.
We were practicing our contortionist art. We have a circus off coming up.
A circus off?
Even work.
I think
I just put you in the corner there.
what am I doing?
these sentences made less and less sense as they went on. I like it.
League of Legends is fun.
You
Yep.
see, he said that we were digging him into corners. I think you found yourself one
I
all on your
literally-
own.
I'm so good at backing myself into a corner.
Yeah,
like,
we don't even need to help you. It's
I just
perfect.
jumped into that hole and started digging even further down. Don't.
Anyway.
Let's talk about this game.
Yep.
We've had a lot of observations. You know, Misfits looked very good in game 1. EXCEL just fell apart. They seemed to crumble in that game. This time they've got quite a lot of late game insurance as well, so they have that at least to play around.
I think they've given themselves the tools as well. They don't have that top lane where it's a skill matchup. I feel like, nah, you just have to get items. You will eventually just outskill the Cho'Gath in that side lane. I feel like in the bot lane, you've given so many... I mean, I don't think it's a great draft for Misfits, to be honest. You pick Tahm Kench Lucian. It's like, Lucian's pretty safe in terms of AD carries. He has his mobility. He's also very aggressive. Why are you picking a Tahm Kench? It's a sort of champion that you pick with an Ashe or Varus. I think it's great from EXCEL to put them in that situation where they were forced to be unable to take those champions. But again, it feels like Misfits drafted themselves into the corner, and it's ended up where I feel like EXCEL are ahead.
I kind of would have loved to see Leader hold off on his pick. They lock in the Tahm Kench, Ashe, or Varus.
Yeah.
And then they kind of go, look, Leader's going to get those, like, probably Zed and Talon banned away from him. He could probably follow up with something like the Fizz or something.
I think there are picks. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, Leader may not be the most comfortable on them. And yes, they did win game 1 with the Zed, but I don't think that was necessarily on the back of the Zed. Yes, he made some good plays, but Shikari is really the driving force.
I think the big thing for us now, as we've mentioned before, is that it is now on the back of this Zed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can they make it work? And I mean, if Misfits can, I think it really cements them as probably the top UK team, but that remains to be seen till tomorrow. But we'll continue to see.
Guess what we've seen from the Gragas?
Predator Gragas!
Oh,
Predator
it's there.
dude.
Okay.
Boom.
So, bit of backing for this. It was played earlier today in the LCK. There was a series between Afrika Freaks and Kingzone. Spirit brought it out. And, oh, we are seeing the new skin. It's a prehistoric Cho'Gath.
Dark Star Cho'Gath.
Dark Star.
Yep.
Prehistoric, mate.
That's a little old.
I
It's
don't
the
remember.
brand new Cho'Gath. It's the
I do not
opposite.
remember the last time I saw a dinosaur made of stars.
When's the last time you saw a dinosaur?
I've seen dinosaurs made of stars even less.
Well, there we go.
It,
But
Natural
Jurassic
History
Park.
Museum in London.
as I was saying about the Predator Gragas, it's something you pick, especially with the electrocute nerfs. Obviously, it provides a lot of ganking pressure. It means you don't have to use your body slam to get in range. You can use it for the final CC. And it does tend to go in with an AP Gragas build. I have no doubt Tax will go for that Runic Echoes early. It means you have a lot of burst potential, and the Predator sets you up to find that.
Also, Crossfair's built Glacial Augment, by the way.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because that is the tendency. It's the keystone you tend to go if you want to go more aggressive in lane. You are playing with a Lucian. He doesn't need that much safety. And I think you can just get forwards. If you get that slowed auto attack, might be able to find it out and potentially punish the other side.
It's also one of the best keystones for Tahm Kench in general.
Yeah.
Simply because you don't really use Aftershock particularly well. Guardian is fine, but realistically, you're trying to pull them out before that shield's necessary.
I think the best one is Spellbook in terms of flexibility. But I think in a situation like this where you don't need to offer as much defensive capabilities to Chrisberg, I think the Ignite Glacial Augment offers more pressure. I think if there was a different situation where, say, he was working with an Ashe, he might go for Cleanse and then the Spellbook.
Well, Leader, this time, having a little harder matchup into Rippy. Rippy on that rise has got himself a 10 CS lead.
I mean, that's the power of the Rise, is that you have that shoving capability that Vladimir didn't have. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Well, you do have a Taxa coming in, looking for Shikari. No
Flash,
Predator
I
boots
assume.
available yet. That's going to be a Feral Free Scream to silence him, but a hook shot will stun him up. And Shikari looking for the tower dive. First blood over to Sendo.
Oh, and Shikari waited as long as he could for that flash, but Sendo outweighted him with a hook shot. Great plays from them.
Yeah, because the issue then was if he'd allowed himself to get hit by the short-range hook shot, it would have been an instant follow-up with the body slam there, and it would have been further away from his tower. The way he played it gave him as much safety as possible, but still not enough to save him.
Absolutely.
We do see Afflict actually go into the jungle of Taxa and at least steal away his blue buff. So something at least answered out. Sendo now looking for a bit of damage onto Shikari. Rippy actually getting all in, looking for the damage. Leader with the auto attack picks him up. 2v1 in the mid.
That was nicely played from them, and again, we're talking about the Zed as the most important person to get ahead.
The Big
he
question
picks up the kill.
you gotta ask is what happened to Rippy's flash? It looks like he used it earlier and then, as a result, didn't have it for that gank, or might have used it at the very start of that gank. Questionable.
We'll see again anyway as we look towards this first play we see. As
It's
we
actually the mid
about,
lane
you're
play.
going to see it. Yeah, the mid lane play. And yeah, he'd already used it. It had already been forced out by leader. Makes sense then for a Flick to immediately want to force the play with the flash had been forced out this early and the lane where it was. Nice pickup for them to even out the first blood in the top lane.
Well, 1 for 1 on the scoreboard. Gold is equal. Both of these teams just looking to farm up for the moment. Oh, Chrisberg obviously is on that more aggressive, has a great spike in the mid game with this Lucian. So I want to see what they're going to be doing. Is Leader actually getting all in? Forced a flash. Here comes a Flick
here though. There's no flash on
Rippy. The first week shove does land it onto Rippy. Leader goes in with a shadow and gets himself a kill. Hops out as Taxa does answer back a 1 for 1 in the mid lane. And now Prosper and Quickstep having some supportal combat. Not going to really result in too much though.
Yeah, they're able to back off anyway. Now it's a Flick trying to fight Taxer.
I mean,
Taxer
he's got
should be able
double
to escape.
buffs.
Oh, okay, it's
forward.
a Flicked.
Oh, a Flick actually looking for that threaded volley. Going to be off cooldown in about a couple more seconds. And a Flick missed too many shots to be able to chase up for a kill. And Shikari now going 1v1 versus Sendo. Feral Scream means he's silenced, and Quickspeth putting that damage onto Prosper. The Ignite's gone down. Prosper now going to take himself a shield. And ooh, minion blocks out the Void Seeker.
Chrisberg just playing it safe though, just in case the minion decides to troll him and move out of the way, heals for it. Venzer also very low as well, has managed to hold on to the summoners though, which is very key for this Kai'Sa. They could maybe turn around to play if they can get a flash taunt. Danger is though, Tam Kench can save Chrisberg from that if they play close to each other.
Yeah, do also have to be very careful with Taxa hanging around. Predator is on cooldown for the moment. Was spotted out on a ward, and Chrisberg just poking Quickstep down as much as possible. Shikari
trying to lower that Camille's health bar, look towards maybe feasting on some of that Camille. See now.
You actually see a Flick also making his way up towards Sendo. Like you said, that feast is available. Leader just constantly poking in.
Not going to be in time, I don't think. It'll be just about, yeah, makes the back. Very important. Now it's, again, this bot lane back and forth, Misfits trying to play aggressive. We talked about how Tam Kench isn't the best aggression.
Oh, actually.
Now it's Sendo.
Sendo actually maybe just looking to go for the play here. There is a Feral Scream. Taxa's also coming through. Remember, Shikari's actually out of mana. Taxa looking for the body block. Is going to be able to find it onto Shikari. Shikari now burning down. Afflict has no mana. And Sendo has hookshot available. It's going to be 2 for 0 in favor of EXCEL topside.
Well played from EXCEL to force that as well. Just immediately turned around by Sendo. Taxer nearby. Taxer having a great early game on this Gragas, has to be the big shining light for EXCEL at the moment.
Ooh, Rippy takes a lot of damage from Leader. Now he's got that serrated Dirk.
One of the amazing things is that even though it is this 201 Camille and an 02 Cho'Gath, there's still a heavy CS lead for Shikari up there.
Yeah, and he's about to catch a wave as well. Like, Sendo actually falling a bit behind in CS from getting those 2 kills, but I wouldn't be complaining too much. You've got the Tiamat, you can now shove. You've got that working in your favor, and Leader does need to be very careful as there's 3 members collapsing on him, but does just have the shadow. Always very hard to catch out a
Prosper's here too.
Zed as Quickstep actually getting engaged onto. Leader does have that death mark available as well. Gonna hold fire for the moment though.
Okay, so it's overall actually Misfits pulling out a very small gold lead at the moment just because CS leads across the board accepted the support role. So really, if you think about it, is Prosper really letting them down there? Just 1 CS behind Quickset, but everyone else pulling out some strong leads, and now it's going to be EXCEL responding.
Good sidestep. Taxa does not have that ultimate available, goes in with the building block, but doesn't actually connect it. Knock up is there. Shikari has a feast, remember? Actually, he doesn't, sorry. Don't worry.
I was going to say, it's still a 1v2, very dangerous to walk forward into.
Nah, go for it, mate. It's fine. You'll be safe.
He's only 0-2. Let's not.
Yeah. He's got Ninja Tabby. He's fine.
But, yeah, he's forced to back off anyway. So Camille give him back the lane. A lot of focus being forced top here. And I think this makes sense. One of EXCEL's keys to victory is setting up Camille as a strong split pusher to deal with Zed as well later on. And I think first Turret Blood's going to be a real tempo decider in these earlier stages of the game. As we do see Sendo pushing in this top side. Misfits able to get a great amount of damage down onto the bot lane turret, and Leader, with the amount of pressure he's been able to put down onto Rippy so far on this Zed,
just meaning these turrets are bleeding out in EXCEL. The one lane they've got working in the push is actually the turret that has the most HP.
Yep. I'm looking at now. It is Misfits who have grouped up together. They managed to force it out. They did.
Oof.
And while, yeah, we said Leader was being forced in the early waves, has now got a lot of control in that mid lane. 10 CS lead, and the serrated dirt means that Ryze is getting zoned back a lot. However, you have a really good gank response as Ryze to allow for a lot of bursts to come through between you and Gragas.
I mean, it's very easy to set up for. You have a point-and-click snare, and you have a Gragas who's running Predator, so he's able to close that gap, like Orc said in the pregame. A lot of gank potential in the mid lane, but for the moment, Leader's been playing well around the vision that his team have been able to set up for him. Been playing very respectful towards Rippy, just trading when he knows it's safe for him to trade. You can see at the moment, doesn't actually have an idea where Taxa is. He is basing, but he was playing further back. Once Taxa shows on the map, you'll see him step forward and go for a trade, because he knows in the 1v1 he wins this trade.
See now that it's the exact same as before though. Misfits have used the strong 80 carry pick they have this time around in that Lucian to push forward constantly, go for that aggressive plays, and it's allowed these chunks taken out of this tower. Wouldn't be surprised to see Misfits make a similar play to what they did last game, where they just sent 4 people towards the bot lane. It was actually EXCEL who made that play in the last game, so it will be Misfits countering with a similar play.
Jungle discrepancy, by the way, is pretty dirty. Talia is up a significant amount of CS, is down a kill though,
and now
Taxa, but now it looks like a Weaver's Wall's going to get thrown out. Quicksef with a taunt underneath the turret. A Void Seeker is there. Seismic Shove gets dodged out, and great disengage by EXCEL does mean they're able to clear out, but actually in comes Taxa, has popped, not popped the Predator, sorry, just...
It was the Predator pop there actually, yeah.
If I say, he was very quick without Predator. Sendo constantly looking, fishing for a bit of damage onto Shikari. He's maybe just looking to proxy farm now.
But you have to remember that the top lane is EXCEL's big winning lane, but the other towers are under so much more pressure, and now it is a Flick to run into mid lane. Not be able to pick up Rippy, but might be able to continue to pressure towards these towers, which Misfits at the moment have full control of.
Yeah, it's a Tear and Ninja Tabby on Rippy into a finished Ryomu's on Leader. Sitting quite comfortable as Sendo, you know, going to be building towards multiple component items, and then suddenly a bunch of items appear inside that infantry. Leader forced the flash. That's going to be the Hextech ultimatum. Going to have a Shen go in. They're looking for the damage down, and Leader will fall. Sendo pops, and the Ignite will not be enough to get the kill.
Yep, but they are able to send their bot lane here. This isn't the tower going down, so that was a lot forced from both sides, but it's EXCEL who come out on top here. They should be able to get the dragon off this.
They're going to turn their attention towards that dragon as we will watch once again. Leader.
Look, he forced the W out. At that point, you know Sendo's just going to force the engage. Shen in there for good measure, and they managed to find it. I think the key thing there was they just waited for the shadow to be forced, trying to bait him out effectively by attacking that vision ward.
They actually didn't go for the Mountain Drake as well. I didn't see exactly
I think that they had pinged it, but I think it was responded to by Misfits, and maybe they got forced off.
That's what your assumption would be. Sendo actually hasn't picked up a Sheen yet. Normally you see a Sheen as kind of the second item on a Camille. Much more preferring the Stinger and the Phage, but gotta keep in mind Taxa, he is AP, has a lot of burst, but he's also very squishy out of 3 auto attacks.
I think I prefer Stinger in this matchup simply because Sheen doesn't hugely matter against the Leica Cho'Gath. You're better off just getting flat DPS, and Stinger allows for that, especially when you're going for press the attack too.
Well, Leader actually maybe looking to turn onto Sendo. Sendo hook shots away respectfully. Quicksef actually does connect the taunt underneath the turret, but Tom Kench, by the way, interactive lane.
One of the things that should be considered though as well is that EXCEL has so much control over the bot side river, but it doesn't matter because Misfits have carefully placed where they need those wards. But on the other side, okay.
Chrisberg doesn't have the gobble available. He's going to be able to heal up. Throws down the culling as Prospect looking for that damage. Quicksef with the Ignite, able to pick himself up a kill. And EXCEL turn the heat up in the bot lane.
I think that was just a misplay. They went for an aggressive play, got turned around on. Well played by EXCEL, who I was saying had control over the vision. It doesn't matter if you just lose in the lane anyway.
And I mean, that's the difference between the massive amount of damage. Ow.
Yep.
That's the difference between the cooldown reduction that now Prospect has on. He's obviously got double the length on the Devour. That Devour was nowhere near being up. It was still about 18 seconds off being even a potential thing EXCEL needed to consider. And yeah, I mean, you have more counterplay nowadays. Versus
Okay, it's going to be engaged here.
Here comes the wall. Flick's actually looking in. He's going to get taunted up. There's going to be a teleport as Prospect gobbles one up. Looks like actually EXCEL do have the faster trigger here on the pool. Sendo goes in with a hook shot at Shikari on that flank. Leader has that death mark. He's going in onto Venter, and Leader just pops him. Deletes out the Kaiser.
And the key thing here is they can now force this tower bot side. They have the numbers advantage. On the other side, it's going to be mid being looked at, but I don't think they're going to be able to take it in time. Should be Misfits with first tower blood.
Is a base race starting up, and actually Misfits looking to turn their attention towards Sendo. With this turret, the minion wave disappearing, and Leader able to get in time to defend his mid lane. First turret blood goes over to Misfits, and now this tempo advantage will start to pick up a little bit. It's only 1k though, over to Misfits as the gold. But they're going to be able to get themselves a Mountain Drake. Sendo trying to contest out this tower, but actually Leader just bursts him down. A lot of damage.
Yeah, you have to consider Camille has no armor yet, no real tank stats to speak of, so that's a good chunk onto her. But EXCEL now moving towards the Rift Herald.
Okay, looks like they have to at least contest this Rift Herald, but
I don't think
they just contest mid.
Yep. They've decided now's a good time to back off. They had a few key items to buy. It's unusual, I think.
I'd say
it's
questionable. Well, this play, but
they've decided to slow down, deciding this is the way they want to play it. I agree, though. I think they could have maybe contested off that. I think they were aware of there were a lot more cooldowns up for EXCEL. Have to be wary of those.
Well, Taxa just going back to his jungle, trying to catch up into a Flick's lead he has over him as far as CS is concerned. Chrisberg and Prosper, we're having the mid laners return to these. The bot laners return to the mid lane. And this turret's already been put quite low by Leader, who is able to, in the earlier stages of the game, get a couple of pot shots onto the turret. So we are going to see this play once again.
It is a heavy force, and it's just immediately turned around. That's to be expected. Gets eaten up. But now is what's the important part. The TPs come in. I was surprised Sendo completed this. This is always going to be a hard play to force, and Leader was here as well. So from there, they just decide, we have our key target. Let's pick off what we know we can get. Take out the Kai'Sa.
It does commit for that teleport.
I think it makes sense. You just wanted to get whatever kill you could because anything guaranteed that tower.
Quick step, look for the taunt. Just slightly out of reach, not able to find it. Shikari now has his Righteous Glory finished up, so he's very tanky. While Camille is going to be fairly decent into him, the tankier he gets, the harder it gets for the Camille.
I think the key thing the Righteous Glory allows is if you slightly edge out in a trade, you could just continue it, push that Righteous Glory, and also allows for when you group up to force engages similar.
Well, this turret in the mid lane, just sitting below 1/4 HP. Misfits definitely playing a slower tempo game than the game one of this series. That was explosive, but we'll probably see these team return to the 1-3-1.
It's actually the 1-3-1 they're setting up.
Yeah,
it makes sense. I think right now we agreed that yes, Camille will be able to outsplit push Cho'Gath, but for now doesn't have the items to do so yet. But in a 1v2, should be able to win out.
I don't know. Shikari has a lot of damage. Remember, there is a feast as well, which will heal him up and do a significant amount of burst damage. So I haven't seen how many stacks he's on at the moment. Is they're actually using the Rift Code. Oh, Shikari has the feast as well. He has the flash. He's not actually going to commit for it. Remember, Taxa's very, very squishy. Don't deliver him in. Oh, Lord. Shikari finds himself the feast, and he's going 2v1. You are one squishy Batman. The flash. Shen's coming in with a stand united. This will be the answer kill for Shikari.
In the mid lane.
Did the heroes play? Oh my lord, Misfits are going to get 2 turrets and a kill for the play.
They can keep going. They can actually keep going here. They can force a dive if they need to.
Oh, here we go. Leader looking for the damage onto Rippy. Not going to actually get it down. And Venter goes pop. Knight ticking away. This will be the mid lane tier 3. Blade open. The base has been cracked. And Misfits at 18 minutes. Turn up the heat. Turn up the tempo, and they say, EXCEL, you will not be going to the European Masters.
That was a 1-for-1. Top lane. They forced everything, lost their whole mid lane tower line for a 1-for-1. I think that can't be stressed enough, because that was a massive loss for EXCEL there.
This is the weakness of the squishy Gragas when you go AP, because they had to use Stand United to stop Shikari getting a double kill. So big. Yes, they were able to turn it around and go 1-for-1, but they lost 3 turrets mid lane.
I'd also like to note this is kind of the weakness as well of going a relatively late game focused team. your comp does a lot better later on, but it doesn't matter if Misfits push their advantages. Use that mid-game strength that we talked about pre-game in the Zed and Lucian to just force plays mid while you try to force one onto this tanky Cho'Gath that you don't have the damage to deal with yet.
The explosive cast actually just gave Shikari the gap close he needed to be able to flash onto Sendo and blow him up. Rippy now not taking quite as much damage because he's built that Ninja Tab. He hasn't built himself the Seeker's Arm Guard yet, though.
I don't think he hasn't had the time.
I mean, he needs to get some scaling items under his belt.
So, right now we're going to take a little break with this pause.
A little bit of
Misfits setting it up, but let's have a quick look at some of the replays here. I love this. This is the 1v2. So, this is just hard tank stats, Grasp the Undying, completely out-trading two people. So, at this point, they're going to force mid. No respect.
You forget. Yeah. I mean, Shikari played that fight really well. You forget how it started with him interrupting the Rift Herald. As we're going back into the replay once again. This cask though, look at that. Bam! He can now just flash onto Sendo.
Literally, you called it ahead of time. You went, okay, he has flash available, decides not to use it. Taxer gives him that opportunity, casts him straight forward, flash ult, really well played. Quickset, I honestly think that might have been a mistake. They might have had a better time holding mid. Losing a kill is whatever. Losing 2 towers in the mid lane was dire.
And I mean, this whole time while this was all going down, you see the push. Leader looked for the play. Venter had to use the Killer Instinct just for the shield to deny and just put enough space between him and Leader. But it doesn't matter. 18 minutes, a third turret goes down in the mid lane. Inhibitor's been laid bare, and if Misfits are able to take this, which it looks like they're grouping up to do, they're sticking to that 1-3-1, which they've been able to play so well.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Cho'Gath can match Camille in the split push.
Leader does have that death mark, going to throw it onto Rippy. Rippy goes golden. Leader's forced to run away. Predator's there. And yeah, I mean, like, he used his ultimate in his Ghost Blade, but he's quite content.
That's stopwatch gone.
Yeah.
That's totally fine for him. He can just wait out, wait for his death mark to come back up. Taxer even got his Predator for it.
It's almost a quarter off cooldown already.
Yeah.
Like, it has such a short cooldown. He's going to be able to make that play again. As Afflict actually looking for the seismic shove. Doesn't actually connect it, but the threaded volley's enough. Going to force Taxer to go golden now as the culling goes out. Afflict finds a kill. A taunt, but Frostman just gobbles him up. The rest of the team hot on the chasers. Venter hops forward with the Killer Instinct, able to find himself one, but in comes Shikari. In comes the knock-up. He's got Chrisberg with him. Prosper's still alive, but Baron is doing God's work. It's a double kill as Rippy is running away. The Stan United into a two-man fight. Sendo goes in. This is EXCEL's fight. Shikari pinned in place with a Hextech ultimatum will fall down, and it's a double kill over to Venter.
That's a lot of really important kills. The big thing for EXCEL though is normally you want to go for the Baron, but if you do, you risk the Talia walling over in time. Even with Kai'Sa, you don't do Baron that fast.
Look at Sendo just chasing Chrisberg through the jungle. He is really close to him.
It's really important because then you can control that Baron and the Dragon coming up if you can get this pick off.
This pick will be the biggest thing they can find.
Here it is.
Looking for that hook shot. There's going to be a tactical sweep. Chrisberg loses a lot of HP, but Sendo respectfully knows that Prosper's back. Can Abyssal Voyage in to make sure he's okay.
It's not even that. If you miss that hook shot, Chrisberg can outtrade you. So it's respectful, as you said, because he was holding on to his dash there as Lucian. Because that could have been really... If they'd lost their top laner in that play, it would have been Misfits again with the tempo advantage.
Massive play by EXCEL. Able to get themselves 3 kills, get himself a turret, start to pull this gold lead back into their favor, but look at what Dragon is spawning, an Infernal Drake.
And it's Misfits who are immediately on it.
That's a free stack. You can't smite steal that. You have to win the team fight.
It's the TP coming in, though. They want to fight for it.
They do want to fight for it. You don't want to give this over as Afflict. Looking just to zone the team away. Dragon's already on half HP. You can't steal this when there's a... No!
He does, though!
How do you steal versus a Cho'Gath? Taxer, that was massive! Now we see Leader get himself one, but he instantly gets picked up. Sendo running very low, though. Chrisberg throwing those auto attacks out. A Weaver's Wall comes down, and Sendo trying to make a hero play happen. Can't do so. And Prosper over the wall with Shikari in his belly is now looking to chase for more. EXCEL on the run, and Misfits hot on their heels.
There's the Realm Warp, though. That's needed. They get out. Get towards mid lane, even.
They just run towards Afflict.
Okay. If that seismic shove had landed, that could have been the trade continued, but no. It does slow down.
Why did Shikari walk out of the pit?
I think they were holding on to the ultimate to actually win a fight or catch Taxer out and then force Baron. But instead, because Leader ends up getting killed so quickly, they're not able to do either.
That was so big. Taxer starting to really turn it up, starting to get a lot better for his team here. Still lost himself the team fight. Still down in gold to Misfits. Misfits with that open base as well. If they want to commit for this mid lane, they can go for it. But the death time is so short, it does make it quite hard to make these sieges happen.
Picking up a drag like that's important though when you've lost the tempo advantage and you know you scale better. It does mean that later on, it's still fine. You could keep going. Like the longer this game stalls out, EXCEL are still very happy with that because they have Kai'Sa, Ryze, even Camille. So for them, this basically gives them a 6-minute window where they can all sit around Baron without losing much. So let's have a quick look at the replay around here because this starts off with Taxer getting caught.
Well, Afflict, even though he misses the seismic shove, just has so much damage that Taxer just gets chunked. The rest of the team able just to pump out that damage. Nice and simple. And Prosper, what a hero there.
And you can see now, it's actually 3 members on 1 on both sides. Misfits decide, okay, we're going to even that out 3v3, so Leader can go find Rippy in the side. And Rippy escapes here, is the saddest thing for them, because Quickset managed to get the double taunt off, keep people away, and Rippy escapes. Look here as well. The W, if that had hit, would also have killed him, but no, he gets the speed buff off and manages to run out.
That is...
Yep.
Mega unlucky.
And he just turns around as well, goes back to Sendo, just in case CRISPR continues.
Mastery emote and all. Orcs, what are you making of this game, mate?
It's been intense. I think Misfits definitely got into a position where they could win, and then they decided that there's no fun in that, and they want this to go to a game 3. So respect to them for giving us a longer series. Obviously, EXCEL aren't quite in the lead yet, but they definitely got a lot more life in those plays. And the thing that we talked about is that they have such a great scaling composition. If they do get back and control the game, it's going to look pretty bad for Misfits.
I think we found Leaders actually been struggling to find a few assassinations as we're moving later on. You know,
I think the shielding is becoming an issue.
Yeah, the shielding is the big thing though. Like there's been Zhonya's in the last few attempts, and then the shielding starts to come up, and like Leader's just not able to get it because if he goes on to Venza just runs away. As we're just getting a replay of Ryze recalling. Super swag
Ryze. Just thinking, considering it. Get the book. I was enjoying that. It's a nice slow mo.
It's a good. That's like quite a cool slow mo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him just like.
It's one of I just
got away with like 12
one of the nicer Ryze skins as well.
I like Pirate Ryze. I love Pirate Ryze. That's a good one.
Wasn't it? Does it still do that? Because I know on the old skin, like when he threw his Q, he used to like bend over and shoot his cannon.
I haven't played him in a very long time. I'm a terrible Ryze player. He's
true.
Quite a
Let's
hard.
See the Ryze in action.
Let's see
how let's see the Cho'Gath not feast the dragon.
First Cho'Gath is in range at this point.
Yeah, he walks out.
Quickly. Yeah.
It's a free stack, and it's also an Infernal Drake.
It's about Taxer at the end. But yeah.
Yeah, he's angry at Taxer. He's like, mate, that's my dragon.
Shielding, taunt, Rippy takes no damage.
So they've all like at this point though, I think you can just let Sendo go. I feel like you already got the Infernal Dragon. You're not winning this fight.
Yeah.
Or they should have at least communicated, I'm going over the wall, you stay with the rest of the team. Because both of the major damage dealers went over the wall at that point, and they're stuck.
They likely would have won that fight from Misfits side if they hadn't sent both people over.
If they hadn't got that Realm Wobble out, that could have been a lot dicier.
Even here, if this size shove
so
happened, that would have been key too.
I think something to note is the next dragon is another Infernal Drake.
Yep.
So that's going to be a big one to play for.
Has to be hotly contested, and this time you have to save the feast. The burst doesn't matter.
Just don't walk out the pit.
Unless you decide to turn around and like hard win a team fight with the feast, that's the only other acceptable scenario.
I mean, I don't think it's justifiable. I think the objective is worth so much more because I don't think you would have won that team fight by enough on the back of the feast to justify that. Giving it up.
We're back into game. Bye-bye, Orcs. Off you go. Don't look sad, mate.
I think
the big thing in the room with us.
The big thing for me though is that you see this like comp coming out from Misfits who want to force in the mid game. I don't think they're going to wait until that dragon spawns. They're going to try force a Baron, or at least bait Baron as it looks before they can do that. So they're trying to find a pick and then go for Baron. That's Misfits' point to call. All EXCEL needs to do is stall it out without losing too many objectives. They're doing so by setting Sendo, sorry, to go split push in the bot side.
Well, they're starting up. Remember that smite fight is never really going to work in your favor when Tax has
Sendo has no TP.
Tax has 2 levels down on Afflict, and Shikari has ultimate. This is so hard.
Sendo's not in this fight either.
Sendo's not close. Looks like EXCEL may be looking to try and start themselves a fight up here. Quickstep misses out the taunt. Explosive cast goes down. In comes the back leader. Gets fully popped up, but he uses the left mark. He's dodging and diving away, but in comes the shutdown. Shikari has used the feast, and Venza's running low. That's going to be 2 for 1 in favor for Misfits.
Actually, I think they're just going to take the 2 for 1 and then back off here.
Well, yeah, because Sendo's pushing their turrets.
Yeah. So they're actually going to go for this. I think they could have tried to turn it around. They run the danger, though, having used a lot there of just being fought. Even in the 3v4, that starts to become dangerous. So they decide, look, we got 2 for 1. This is still a win for us.
So that was an acceptable feast, because we see Shikari used it to secure a kill onto one of the squishier members. They force him back, and now they can turn towards Baron. 2/3 off that ulti already for Shikari, so it should be up in time. Taxa, even though he does have Predator,
they have a ward in it, but they don't.
Doubt he's going to be able to get there. There's actually a realm warp just to scare them off. So another.
They don't look scared. They're continuing.
I mean, who are you going to be
scared
of?
Here's Venzer with Shen.
Does have Shen on top of him. You're right, but that's already the shield's down, so that's quite major.
That's what they're doing. All Misfits are doing is we're starting Baron because we know you have to use everything just to come deal with us.
Well, leader pops
the Abyssal Voyage.
In comes the Abyssal Voyage. They're looking for the flank onto Venza.
Can't quite find it.
Run away. Throws down a little bit of a caffeine rain, but now Misfits have the inside track on to this mid lane. And remember, there's no inhibitor there. Now Sendo.
Predator was forced, so all they decided, we know Predator's down, just run away, force him to use it early, and now we can restart.
So let's talk about what Misfits have used. Realm Warp is down. Predator's down. They have no Stand United. They're using all of the major teamfight tools and survivability tools already. EXCEL get themselves a couple of wards as their consolation prize. But what do Misfits get? They get all their ultis back. They use Abyssal Voyage, and that is it.
The one key thing for EXCEL, though, is that Sendo's TP is back up. Or just about back up. Sorry, I can see it slivering the cooldown. So from here,
okay, so that's going to have to force Taxa to belly bot over somewhere. They're looking for maybe the full commit, actually. Positioning inside that Baron pit. In comes the teleport.
TP, but it might be too late.
Shikari has got that ultimate available, and now we're actually seeing them go in. Don't run out of the pit! Taxa's running low! Taxa's going down! And it looks like EXCEL actually have been able to find themselves their opening. Shikari can't even get the feast! EXCEL find themselves everybody on the side of Misfits and still Baron Nashor!
That is huge. That is EXCEL. Potentially have just won the game off that. They could just continue to run this through the top lane. They have a massive wave built up. Misfits lost everything.
I mean, the death timers are still very short, so they're going to lose at least 2 turrets here, but this could be the base cracking open. This could be the turnaround. Prosper just trying to buy time.
You can't kick him over the wall.
But he doesn't have Abyssal Voyage. He's not got a way out for the moment. Turrets are going to be going down. That's a very, very big wave. The ace is delayed, and Prosper is 40 seconds from being up. The rest of the team able to take themselves an inhibitor.
This is the scaling team. They just turned that gold lead into a 4K gold lead for themselves. They can back up, use that. They have taken the inhib, reset. I think they won the game off this fight, but we'll see. Have another look at this. What really happens here is EXCEL have forced Misfits right into the back of the pit, and all they need to do now is look at how low Afflict is at the start of this. Taxberg just runs into the center, managed to just go down, but the rest of Misfits have already been picked up on the side. From there, it's just a quick turnaround. Rippy and Venz are just shredding through people.
And Chrisberg literally ran away from his team. He completely isolated himself. And EXCEL went, oh, we can just kill you now. They turned onto him. Now, Gold League, 3K, and this second Infernal Drake. We didn't think that this would actually be Misfits to take, but actually, they're in... sorry, this would be Misfits to take, but actually EXCEL are now the ones who are looking to have this. As Prosper potentially getting collapsed on, Realm Warp has been used, and it's just going to be Rippy delivering himself into the pit. We got Sendo with a suit with Baron minions pushing in the mid lane, being able to take him down his 6th turret. Well, Misfits are just going to have to concede a second Infernal Drake over to the team with better scaling and a better late game.
You see, what Misfits are trying to do now is just stay grouped and try run this death ball, see if they can find a pick, and then once they have the numbers advantage, maybe they can win a fight, but it just seems to have fallen apart from that one fight with the Baron going over. All EXCEL need to do is make sure they're together and leave Camille split. They already have an inhib taken. They can even put Camille in the one thing they don't have super minions in, and suddenly it's 3 waves pushing into you.
Well, Shikari is still pretty tanky on this Cho'Gath, but
not tanky enough to deal with Venzer in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Venzer's a tank rider.
Yeah.
Maybe
EXCEL
we see the forced play come out.
Yeah, it's Misfits who need to force it right now.
Sendo is pushing. Remember, he doesn't have teleport, so if they do decide to go for a play,
he can cover that distance. It's only the jungle away, and for Camille, that's not very far. Hookshot covers a lot of distance around there. So EXCEL get themselves all the inner towers. Now it's onto the inhib towers. This is where you'd expect Misfits to really start looking for the pick before they lose these.
Well, Misfits, they don't want to lose more than one inhibitor. For Sendo, looking to go in with that hookshot, does actually find it go down, as that will be the Ghost Blade, uses himself the ulti. Sendo's running low, forced to use the Sterix, and he goes pop, but the Taunt Blade comes out from Quickstep onto a Flick, but he is taking a lot of damage. Shikari can just feast him if he wants a Flicks, able to get himself a kill. It's 1 over to Misfits, but they will lose a turret in the mid side.
That's still very good for Misfits. They should have lost a lot more. Honestly, this game should be looking very shaky for them. They should be really struggling to find ways back into it. They find themselves a pick. They slow down the Baron push. So important for this side.
I really want to see Leader finish up a GA as soon as possible now, because he's constantly getting picked on by Sendo. He needs that ability just to survive the 1v1 for as long as possible. And for now, it looks like he's got himself a longsword, so could be that Stormrazor, could be a Death Dance, potentially.
You could even go, we've seen some Zeds go for kind of off-tank builds. Sometimes you see things like a Titanic Hydra come out after a Black Cleaver, but all that remains to be seen. I think the most important thing for us to note is that, yes, Sendo is starting to isolate Leader out of these fights, because removing that Zed, we talked about how Zed needed to carry them through, and with Zed being taken out by Camille, you've kind of lost that win condition.
And it's also forcing Prosper, to bail Leader out with the Gobble, and then it leaves Chrisberg very open to getting jumped onto. He hasn't built a GA either, so the 2 major carries don't actually have any kind of major survivability available to them. Actually, it's a Sterix. Sterix. It could be still be a
Death Stance.
Death Stance, because that pickaxe longsword will work into that, but thinking we're probably going to see a Sterix, recognizing that he's kind of stuck in a 1v1 versus Sendo a lot and needs that survivability.
See though how he finishes that. Realistically, we'll see if he is allowed to finish that, as it is EXCEL slowly closing in, allowing Rippy to push in that bot wave. You can see how important it was that they get that one pick in their base, because it slowed EXCEL down so heavily, and they've had to completely reset, and it's allowed Misfits to kind of control the waves for a very long time. As Rippy brings in this bot wave, you can see EXCEL start to reset these same kind of fights.
Just pushing the wave away here, Sendo hanging around the bush just in case one person may be overextended, but the rest of the team working in a bit of the bot lane. Misfits definitely taking their foot off the gas. A couple of very, very questionable plays, both in Dragon Pit and Baron Pit, have really backfired and thrown this game out of the window for them for the moment, but they're down, they're not out, and this looks like the Weaver's Wall.
That's that gone.
It was an attempt. They needed to try it, but that's one ultimate down.
From now, it's still EXCEL in control. They have Camille in the side lane, who should win against Zed, but Leader has outplay potential.
Has a lot of outplay potential. Hasn't got that Sterix yet. Maybe when the Sterix comes through, we see a little bit more.
I think the
of
issue,
a chance, but it's still very hard.
You're up against a stopwatch Camille as well, so that option's available. It's so unlikely that you win the 1v1 as Leader. At best, you can hope to kind of force the stopwatch and run.
I mean, what do Misfits do at this point? Looks like they're actually just going in for a Realm Warp. EXCEL looking to make their way into the base, looking for an inhibitor here. That will be inhibitor in the top side falling down. Rippy now looking to run away. Misfits unable just to respond.
20 seconds till Baron. That's where Misfits might be looking for the play. They just lost their inhib though. That's something they were really hoping to hold on to around this Baron fight.
Crucially, it's that top lane inhibitor. Orcs hit on this in the second series of our first game.
All the way around?
Was that you who hit on that? One of you two hit on that. Talking about how you know, your top lane, oh, it was Orcs, okay. Your top lane is your most important inhib if you're trying to contest Baron, but Misfits actually just running it down mid. They want to go for the bait
Let's
here.
see if they can find it. This is a nice play to force them into an engage. EXCEL could still very much win this fight, though.
Chrisberg's throwing the culling out just to do a little bit of zoning, and they are turning on to the inhibitor. This is do or die. This is win or lose for Misfits. Inhibitor will fall down, and now with the Ghost Blade procced, they're running away. Explosive Cast has forced them out. Taunt only lands onto one. Gobbled up. That's going to be the tank. In goes the Death Mark. Looks like we can see a root go down, and Leader is just gone. Taxa pops him down, and it's a 5v4 now. Shikari has to zone, has to save the team.
Oh my God!
Big shove! Oh, Misfits! It might just be saved!
Still have that inhib down in the top side. They need to go back, deal with those super minions. On the other side, you just lost your jungler. You have to be very brave to start forcing this Baron, but you can try zone them. Try keep them away from their own base. Sendo actually routing them while they're actually double TPing into top side.
Oh, they're going for the end. That's going to have to be a teleport coming out. Shikari, Quickstep could not answer out in time. He's going to make it back. Same goes for Afflict. The turret is going to be the focus. That will be going down. Number one, Hextech Ultimatum has been thrown out, and Shikari is melting. Rippy's pulling the damage down, but the turret shots are there. The shields are there. Misfits do not lose their second turret. They hold them by the skin of their teeth, and now Chrisberg with a culling is pumping the damage. He flashes onto Venza. A Taunt is available as an Abyssal Voyage is there. What are you doing? No Prospect, you killed your damn carry, mate.
Venzer, though, is still in trouble. Quickset, though, gonna be able to save him, and now it's Prosper likely going down as well.
He has been able to gobble up the Kaiser. Sender comes over the wall, goes golden for the side of Venza.
Leader, can he get there in time? It's also Afflict trying to play Hunters.
They're also low. Seismic shove. That's going to be a threaded volley. Actually hold on to the seismic shove, and multiple of the carries are basing. They could just go for Baron Nashor now. They've got the feast, they've got the jungler, they've got the damage to do this, and everybody on the side of EXCEL is too low. Taxa, though, is there. He is alive. He's trying to make it down.
I'm not sure he can cut the distance in time. That's the Spike Force. Can we get it? This is it.
Shikari,
there it is.
It's done.
Done.
Oh,
so important. They have to meet him as well.
Sorry, I had to cough there. I'm just so pumped. Pumped.
Yeah,
I'm losing words.
Something. Because now you have the game slowing down again. Misfits are going to be allowed to reset. They flipped what is a really heavy scaling comp with 2 Infernals into fights they can win. That is insane because they're using the tempo that much better. It's still EXCEL, though, finding themselves objectives. They're going to pick themselves up another dragon. Next one is Elder. So that's actually a big concern for them as well. Realistically, they should be looking to use this Baron, see if they can route EXCEL, see if they can try control the map as they did in that last game, as they did before that unfortunate first Baron for them, and see if they can close this.
It's hard when Sendo is going to be such a powerful split pusher. Venza's going to do a lot of damage as well, and your only turret defending you from the Nexus exploding and you losing the game is currently on just under 1/5 HP.
And the big thing as well is you also have 2 GAs to deal with. You have Camille and Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa, really crucially for EXCEL, has picked up that GA, so looking really strong. Can they actually pick her off without going down? Because Leader cannot find openings, it seems.
He can only kill Taxa now. Like, his options are running low. The only person he can ult is Taxa, who, fortunately
Gargoyle Stoneplate
has built pretty squishy, but the Gargoyles is there, so he at least has the ability to dodge the pop. It's going to be all about that initial burst. And this is the point I raised in the last game of, you know, it gets hard the later into this game you get on Zed. He gets more and more useless as the GAs start to come through, as the Zhonya's hourglasses start to come through. You struggle to find your picks, and when you're Rippy now at this point with this much mana and this much damage, like, he doesn't even really need to build a GA because he can just Seraphs the burst from Zed.
Misfits need to make this push work because they've allowed a slow push to accrue in the bot lane. They need to start pushing forward themselves, and it looks like that's exactly what they're going to try to do, at least get this tower for themselves.
Really strong Weavers will mean they're going to be at least to get 1 turret. Baron will be timing out in a couple more waves, so maybe they commit for a little bit more. Remember, it's still very dangerous no matter what happens.
Kind of would like them to save that Weaver's Wall for this next turret, because this is the one they're really going to struggle to take down.
Ooh. That was 1 auto attack by Flick, by the way. That's the new changes.
That's a lot returned onto Afflict as well for that.
Seeker.
Yeah.
By Venza, who hasn't actually built any AP, so curious how he did so much damage there. Doesn't matter. Gonna see the full base coming through
Okay.
from Misfits. Spicy.
Yeah, if Taxer decided to lead with Body Slam there, that would have been a dead bot lane from Misfits, but not willing to take the risky play.
GA on the build from Leader. That probably won't be the Storm Razors. He's not really going to be doing too much burst damage now. It's going to be more about him trying to get in, get a little bit of burst out, and then die, and then res.
Here's the
Rippy
Realm Warp.
actually Realm Warping the team in. They're looking to go for the ending here. Shikari
Rippy's
goes on! Rippy down, man! And in comes the ulti. They're going to try and chase up for a little bit more. Sendo gets himself knocked up as they're chasing hot on the heels. Still has that GA available. In comes Leader on that Zed. Still does have his Ghost Blade available to him, so he can pop that to chase. Oh, Shikari saves a potential devastating play.
Yeah, and I think they thought that Realm Warp would go deeper. They were hoping for a flank, but ended up right on top of them, and this is going to be the inhib going over to Misfits. I'm not sure if they can force more. You still have 30 seconds without Rippy. Looks like they might try push up. I think they're just clearing this wave, though, and then they're going to move back around. They have a top lane they could join up with.
They might be committing at this point. Shikari doesn't have teleport.
They're going to see if they can pick someone
actually
off.
looking to get caught out, uses that hook shot. Leader popped the Ghost Blade as well. Turret getting started up. This actually might just be the end of the game.
I don't think so.
Whoever wins the fight wins the game, as Sendo is on that flank. You've got to keep your eyes on the minimap. You've got to keep your eyes on where he's going. Baron Nash is not going to be a threat for a while. Elder Drake's not quite a threat yet either. And Misfits realized maybe they were getting a little bit too eager to end the game there, and they're just going to look to back off as Sendo...
No, they're actually trying to bait this Baron area out because they know someone's going to deal with the top side. So they're going to Abyssal Voyage in behind them.
Yeah, they're actually just looking to get themselves another kill off the
there
Rippy.
it is.
Rippy's actually looking to burst Chrisberg, though. Chrisberg needs to be very careful. GA, here comes Venter. Venter's managed to find one. Rippy flashes forward. He's going to get blown up by one.
Takes
But
that
it's a 2-for-1 EXCEL. That was saving the game. And Sendo is in the bot lane looking to push Shikari. About to get that teleport, though.
They just need to cancel backs right now. They need
just
cancel out a flick.
Afflict is going to be able to get out. Oh, no, they hit Seeker! No, he's going to go down. Venter finds it, and
There's
now
the
we see a
TP
teleport
back.
coming through. Shikari, remember, does have that feast, and Sendo putting a lot of damage out, uses the Hextech ultimation to dodge away from the knockup. His damage is disgusting at this point in the game. He is ripping through a shot. Shikari, he's flashing over the walls with a tactical sweep, and it going down.
Not enough,
Shikari
though.
somehow stays alive, but the rest of the team will make their way in. The inhibitor will fall, and with this, Prosphere trying to keep his top laner alive, trying to keep his team's hope of a 2-0 alive. Sendo's damage is here, Venza's here, the inhibitor, the Nexus, everything goes down. EXCEL take out Misfits in a nail-biting finals.
And this is 1-1. This is semi-finals for these guys. Next game decides all, and that right down to the wire there for them.
Misfits, that was some questionable decisions.
Just Misfits.
That Baron
That entire
Yeah.
game was questionable decisions. I think you could make a list, double-sided, of questionable decisions from that game. Wow.
It fell apart from two questionable decisions.
That is
started out by
the peak
Misfits.
League of Legends.
That's the league I live for.
Yep, hell yeah.
That is the league I live for.
God, that was something.
That was exciting. That's what that was.
That was
it wasn't
exciting,
something. It
for
was
sure.
exciting.
As you said, a lot of questionable decisions, but in the end, I think the big one that mattered the most was Misfits committing to that first Baron, losing everyone and the Baron, completely devastated the momentum they'd had.
Well, let's have a little look at that damage from this game, because I'm sure we're all very curious. No doubts there, Kai'Sa does the most damage. I don't know if Zed's lead is going to be enough for game 3.
Yeah, that
The
wasn't
leader-
a great performance on the Zed. We begged questions about him picking up in this scenario.
I mean, in fairness, if that Baron fight hadn't gone so horribly, they would have maintained momentum and quite likely been able to close it out. I do concede that a lot of that was because EXCEL misplayed and gave up the mid lane inhib.
Yep.
But they still, because they had played better, they had that opening. If they shore up their draft a bit, if they decide, okay, let's go a little bit more standard, still allow Leader that outplay potential, but maybe not something that's so linear in that. Even something like an Aurelia would have done so much better in that game.
The problem is, yes, that might have been an option, but now that they are on the red side, I know they're on the red side, there's so many more options for EXCEL to shut them out.
yes and no. I think the red side has actually favored them quite heavily because they've been allowed that counter pick on the top side, and then they can again go for this 1-3-1 style.
True, they can get the counter pick on the top side, but I think it might be a big issue if leader is forced on a champion who can't make the impact.
Yeah.
And if Sendo doesn't hard run it down on Aurelia, maybe the top lane matchup wouldn't go quite as bad.
It's really hard to say because I think we've seen a very good game from Misfits where they looked extremely clean and executed their comp perfectly. Then game 2 starts out really well for them and they just take the game, scrunch it up, throw it out the window, and EXCEL kind of throw it back out the window at them and they have a bit of a paper off throwing like who wants to win the game. And EXCEL just got their stuff together so much quicker than Misfits in that game.
I'm going to argue the point that they won on scaling. I think both teams threw so much. Eventually, it got to the point where you have a Kai'Sa, you saw that rise. Zed full combo onto him, still has enough time to go boop boop dead.
I mean,
the
sorry,
Kai'Sa
I think Sendo played quite well in the split push. That's the one thing as a team.
Sendo
I think EXCEL
the one
just scaled. Sendo, I think, actually did play well.
He gave them time to scale with his split pushing.
Yeah.
He was constantly slowing down what Misfits wanted to do.
I think the other saving grace for EXCEL was the shot caller for Misfits really gave them the time to scale as well. That Baron call.
That was that was a roughie.
I heard him from over in England go, oof.
Yeah.
I mean,
unlucky.
It was a hard fought game by both teams and EXCEL were able to tie it out. This does mean now that EXCEL are still in the runnings for that spot at EU Masters. They can't.
They need another game.
This next game. They have to win this next game to play versus Enclave. And Misfits, you know, while they're not guaranteed a first or second spot going towards the playoffs, and they're looking for that third space lock-in, they still want to get this win. They want that momentum going forward, and they showed a lot of weaknesses in this game.
Yeah, if you'd seen game 1, you go, wow, Misfits are so much better than they have been in the previous tournaments. They really could, and then you watch game 2 and you're like, okay. Let's see what game 3 brings us.
I will say that while their early to mid game was decent up until that Baron call, a lot of it was that their comp was very limiting.
Yep.
We talked about it constantly, how they had to play around Zed. EXCEL knew that.
Yeah.
And EXCEL played exactly to that. They went, okay, as soon as Zed went near anyone, they just 5-man tried to jump on top of him.
You saw it was like the first play when they brought the Camille in, and then they had the Shuttle on top, and they just like there was like 4 members. Like, there's no outplay in that. There is no counterplay.
That's exactly the point. It's like it's a very linear style. You have to try assassinate someone, and EXCEL just grouped up anytime he attempted it.
Fun game.
It was a very, very fun game. I think if we have another game like that, I won't have a voice for the finals tomorrow. But, you know...
We were going to dual-cast anyway.
Oh, yeah, that was the plan. But, yeah, I mean, I think all of the games today have been very exciting, actually. Enclave versus Wind and Rain went all the way to 3 games. Wind and Rain looked good in some parts. Looked weak in other parts.
Less good in other parts.
Misfits looked very good in some parts. Looked less good in some parts.
Every team has been this sort of bouncing from looking, wow, this is a good team. They could really actually challenge to be the best team in 40 champions. And oh my god, they actually just do that.
Yeah.
It's just,
You know what? It keeps us interested.
Oh, it's very
keeps us
fun.
interested.
Very
it's entertaining. Let's see what they bring out for game 3.
I mean, are we expecting any changes going into game 3?
I don't expect Leader to go for the Zed, or I expect them to go 1-3-1 again.
I feel like he could just double down. He could go, whatever.
I mean, if they get
the
the 1-3-1, I could actually see them still going for it, go back to their game 1 style. We'll see.
The key thing to say, regardless of the win in the first game, I think you can definitely say that Leader isn't a KDA player. Definitely suffered a lot of grey screen throughout this series. But you know, plays for his team.
Well, let's see whether or not his plays for his teams will be enough, as we're going to cut to a quick break. And when we are back, we will be deciding who is the last team to go to the grand finals through to tomorrow. So you don't want to miss this. Don't go anywhere.